The WCPW, Internet, Women's and Tag Team titles all crammed excellent lineage into just shy of 18 months of history. Names like Drew Galloway, Cody Rhodes, Nixon, Newell and War Machine all held gold, but they weren't the only belts featured in WCPW. Top titles from all corners of the globe, including those from Japan, the USA and the United Kingdom itself, have been a heavy presence on WCPW Loaded and iPay-per-view broadcasts since the beginning. Even championships that only made a fleeting appearance, like the Smash Wrestling title and the old WCW Cruiserweight title brought to the UK by Juventud Guerrera, all hold a special place in our short history. With WCPW set to give way to Defiant Wrestling on the 4th of December, and our own belt's history being covered in the excellent retrospective series, presented by Chris, a man with a beard I can only dream of, there's never been a better time to look back on the importance of outside belts to What Culture Pro Wrestling. I'm Adam Wilborn, and this is 10 other wrestling titles that appeared in WCPW. Number 10, the DDT Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship. A title that has been held by a ladder, a monkey, a pair of chopsticks, an inflatable love doll, and perhaps most embarrassingly of all, Jack the Jobber. The DDT Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship has had 1,283 champions at time of recording. And again, it could easily have changed hands 3 times during that last sentence. At State of Emergency, Joey Ryan brought the belt to WCPW in time for the promotion's Orlando debut in April this year. He'd trade the title with the aforementioned Jack the Jobber, Joe Hendry, and a bin. The reason the Iron Man Heavy Metalweight Championship appears right at the start of this list is, well, because it's a bit of a joke title. Now, that's not a slight on it at all. Ryan himself simply used the belt to entertain our Orlando audience with this incredible footnote in WCPW history. Number 9, the WXW Shotgun Championship. The cream in your coffee, your favourite wrestler's favourite wrestler, the Jewish canon, the physical embodiment of charisma, the Bernie Sanders of professional. David Starr, as he's better known, brought the WXW Shotgun Championship to WCPW earlier this year. After winning the title from Chris Brooks on a WXW show in Germany, he'd bring it to shows like Chain Reaction and Exit Wounds. Although he'd never defend it on a What Culture show, instead just showing it off whilst the announcer was going through the laundry list of his nicknames. Despite losing the title to Ivan Kiev, the self-professed most entertaining man in professional wrestling will no doubt be an important part of the Defiant Wrestling roster going forward, with the next match in his Best of 3 series with Mike Bailey to decide the number 1 contender for the Internet Championship set for We Are Defiant. Number 8, the Progress Atlas Championship. Complete with his laid-back Californian surfer dude vibes, Matt Riddle became as popular backstage with the WCPW locker room as he was in front of the fans. I can easily say he's the nicest cage fighter I've ever met. At WCPW Chain Reaction in March 2017, the King of Bros was in the midst of a reign as Progress Atlas champion, and he proudly sported the belt when squaring off against Cody Rhodes. That match was for the WCPW Internet title, not the Atlas Championship. But still, Riddle was rightly proud of his achievements in the London-based company, and the title itself received a fantastic reaction from the live crowd inside the Coronet Theatre. Fellow WCPW stalwart Rampage can also boast a run as Progress Atlas champion, and it was actually he who lost the belt to Riddle for the Americans' first reign. Number 7, the GFW Next Gen Championship. There's not a person involved in What Culture Pro Wrestling who wasn't charmed by the presence and skills of Cody Rhodes. Keen to rebuild his career after leaving the WWE, Rhodes cited WCPW as his UK home, and that loyalty was rewarded with a run as WCPW Internet Champion. But that wasn't the only belt Cody draped over his shoulders. Coming at the same time as his achievements in WCPW, Jeff Jarrett's Global Force Wrestling gave Cody a run as their Next Gen Champion. His time with the GFW belt lasted a full 219 days before he was stripped of it, and the title, along with the company it was tied to, has since become defunct. Rhodes always looked proud to hold both titles. Just look at the glint in his eye during various promo shoots. WCPW will never forget the contributions of Cody or for helping put the internet title on the map. Number 6. The Impact Grand Championship. Ask any WCPW regular what they look forward to most about shows, and it's likely the unscheduled invasions of Moose would be right up there. Half the time, people working at the shows don't know he's there until that deafening chant starts. The big man never held gold in WCPW, but it seems almost inevitable that it'll happen in Defiant Wrestling. Besides, he can look back on his time as Impact Grand Champion with a smile. Moose first won that title from Aaron Rex, aka Damien Sandow, in October 2016, and he'd hold it again, beating former WCPW champion Drew Galloway in January 2017. 174 days later, Moose was doing the honours for EC3, which means that no less than 4 men who have been tied to What Culture Pro Wrestling in the past have also been Grand Champion. And to date, the belt remains an important milestone, marking his first major title. The first, one suspects, of many. Number 5. The Evolve, Rev Pro and PWG Championships. Okay, before you go all caps blazing into the comment section, I know, I should have called this list 12 other wrestling titles that appeared in WCPW. Trust none other than Zack Sabre Jr. to show me up. When you're as talented as he is, nobody would have a problem if you let people know it. In truth, Zack is one of the most humble men in the industry today, and one fully deserving of his wild success. He also possesses the ability to turn grown men into human pretzels. At one point, Zack entered the Pro Wrestling World Cup with 3 different titles around his waist. It sounds ridiculous, but Sabre Jr. carted around the Evolve, Rev Pro British Heavyweight and PWG Championships all at once. He'd later add to his embarrassment of riches by beating Gabriel Kidd to become WCPW Internet Champion on an episode of Loaded. Unbelievably, Zack still holds all of those titles, aside from the PWG Championship. He lost that this past July to Chuck Taylor, who in turn dropped the belt to firm WCPW favourite Ricochet. Still, I don't think Zack is doing too badly for himself. Number 4. The Ring of Honor Television Championship. Kushida was a true phenomenon in the Pro Wrestling World Cup. Not only did he win the entire competition and beat old foe Will Ospreay in the final, but he routinely had the best matches on the card throughout the brackets. As if anyone needed proof of his quality, Kushida brought the ROH television title with him too. Introduced in 2010, the Ring of Honor TV title has been held by some of wrestling's greatest workers, including Jay Lethal, Christopher Daniels, Adam Cole, and current Defiant Wrestling champion Marty Scurll. In fact, he was the man Kushida beat at ROH War of the Worlds 2017 to win it. Winning the inaugural Pro Wrestling World Cup whilst also being ROH TV champ would have been an achievement in and of itself. But that wasn't the only title Kushida held at the same time. Number 3. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. So prestigious is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title that it deserves its own entry, despite also being held by Kushida. Since he proudly held up both the ROH Television and IWGP Junior Heavyweight belts for the What Culture cameras, Kushida has unfortunately lost the latter to another WCPW stalwart, Will Ospreay, at New Japan's King of Pro Wrestling. There's no shame in that though, because the Japanese warrior earned rave reviews for his work as champion and had already held the title on 4 other occasions. If that doesn't display how much respect New Japan bosses have for the man, nothing will. Kushida's World Cup success seems more and more obvious the more you analyse his career. He's beaten names like Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega and Hiromu Takahashi to become Junior Heavyweight Champion too. Upon doing so, he further etched himself into the history of a title also held by stars such as Fergal Devitt, aka Finn Balor, Jushin Thunder Liger and the Great Sasuke. It really was an honour to see such a prestigious championship in a WCPW ring. Number 2, the IWGP Tag Team Championships. WCPW announcer Dave Bradshaw once wondered aloud whether or not the Mighty War Machine could ever be stopped on their relentless march towards greatness. That was a superb commentary line which brilliantly outlined just how awesome a sight Hansen and Raymond Rowe are, contesting matches in WCPW under War Machine rules, which of course means
there are no rules!
They're a real throwback to classic tag teams like Demolition and the Road Warriors. They're successful too. Before War Machine captured the WCPW tag team titles from the Swords of Essex, unloaded in July 2017, they were already in their second reign as IWGP Tag Team Champions, having defeated the Gorillas of Destiny at New Japan's G1 Special in the USA. Unfathomably, the face-painted duo have since lost both sets of titles, one to the Killer Elite Squad and the other to the unlikely team of Primate and Jimmy Havoc. Nonetheless, fans who adore Japanese wrestling history will love the fact War Machine brought the IWGP Gold with them to WCPW. Number 1. The Ring of Honor World Championship. Earlier in this list, I said that Cody Rhodes helped put WCPW on the map. And he did. But nobody did more for What Culture Pro Wrestling in its infancy than Jay Lethal. Appearing on the very first shows in June 2016, held in that infamous leaky, cramped warehouse in Newcastle, Lethal even agreed to defend the ROH World title against Noam Dar. Mere months later, Lethal would drop the title to current NXT and former WCPW star Adam Cole at Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor 14. He hasn't regained it since, but WCPW fans will never forget the time they got to see Jay put his title on the line for them. It was a magical moment and one of the best in company history. Lethal will no doubt play a part in shaping the future of Defiant Wrestling as well. And as he does so, it should never be forgotten that he contributed so heavily to the early days of WCPW, was a consummate professional and class act backstage, and gave fans matches both he and What Culture could be proud of. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Let us know in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't miss Defiant Wrestling's first ever iPay-per-view, We Are Defiant, on December 4th. I'm Adam from What Culture, and I'll see you soon.
The killer in you is the power in me. Pleased to meet you, so good to see. The killer in you will keep me alive. Back to back, self-sacrifice.